The other place I would also look at is we talk about, because of the public-private partnership, while we talk about things the city can't do by itself, so it brings in the private sector to partner with, is also thinking more in a metropolitan fashion rather than just an urban fashion, and things where the city and the suburbs partner up on areas, be that in job growth, infrastructure spending, and moving people and services in the capacity, rather than having what we have traditionally in this country thought as divisions between the city and the suburbs. Thinking more on a regional basis as an opportunity to partner up and start solving our problems that we can do collectively. Those are kind of the things that bring the ideas together in a way that when you're thinking about how to do it from an innovative basis, which is how to stretch resources to do more with less, bringing in the private sector, realizing what your core functions are, and how the city itself, but be it cultural or its space, can be an opportunity that other places don't have, and then also thinking in solving its problems or attacking the challenges from a metropolitan rather than urban versus suburban type perspective.
The much attributed quote to Ram about not allowing a crisis to go to waste. You talk about sustainability. We have in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia region now, something called a Metropolitan Caucus. It is directly designed after the Mayor's Metropolitan Caucus here in Chicagoland. I came to Chicago in 2005, heard about what Mayor Daley had created, 272 mayors working together in partnership way before the economic crisis. I stole that idea. I've given Mayor Daley credit up and down for the last few years. I was a member of City Council at the time. Brought that back to Philadelphia. The 5 counties, Philly, Philadelphia, Bucks, Chester, Delaware, Montgomery counties, applied for an energy efficiency and conservation block grant as a region. We were awarded just last week $25 million for that, and that partnership is going to continue, crisis or not. We have learned so many things as a result of the crisis. The world is shrinking around us. We have to work together, and even when we come out of it, the things that we've learned, the efficiencies that we've gained, the lessons that are learned are going to help us as we move forward and do better what we do today as a result of having come through this. Our challenge today is to work our way through this, not slow down, not be distracted, not be deterred, not give up hope, and use these lessons in ways that will help us that much more in the future. And so I think a lot of these lessons learned have taught us how to run the city better, made us reevaluate our priorities. What do we really need to do? What do we have to do as a city government, and what things should we not be in the business of anymore, or figure out how to get someone else to do it? That's what this has caused. We will continue to shrink the size of our city government, one, because we have to, but more importantly, because we need to. That's what this crisis has shown us.
But in relation to transport in particular, we have a situation where the majority of people live in places that are far removed from their workplaces. We also have a situation where there's poor fragmentation in general, and there's been lack of proper coordination of our transport. All of this has led to a situation where we have had to respond to this specific challenge. Part of that response has been a development of the Integrated Development Plan, the ITP. Part of that has been the commitment by government to seek to ensure that we develop a transport system that is affordable, that is fast, that is reliable, and that is safe. And lastly, we have had to implement the BRT Rea Vaya transport system. Rea Vaya is one of the local lingo, meaning we're on the move. So BRT Rea Vaya, as I'm speaking now, is being implemented. But BRT is not just about buses. It's also one of the biggest projects we have embarked on to address, amongst others, the reduction of carbon emissions. We are doing, of course, all of this work in partnership with a variety of stakeholders. Firstly, at government level, all spheres of government, local, provincial, and national, are working together. Secondly, we're also working with the private sector. And thirdly, we're working with taxi operators as well as communities. So the result that we expect, because the work is ongoing as I'm speaking now, the BRT is being implemented.
Well, in Mexico City case, you have the city and the suburbs or the neighborhood is another state, like New York, New Jersey. And so we don't want the neighborhood zones and the other cities around Mexico City to expand more fast or more growing in the next years. So we are taking several decisions. I can say, first of all, to recover spaces like downtown area in Mexico City, which is the most important cultural and historical asset of the city, the identity of the city. But also, you have the infrastructure and everything to have thousands of young people who, if we don't provide them with an opportunity to recover the city and to live in the downtown area, maybe they are going to live 3 hours in the neighborhood from downtown or from their labor places. So we are putting a lot of efforts in order to recover the central part, the historical part of the city, Mexico City, which was abandoned during 30 years. So all the downtown area of the Mexico City, the old city, used to have more than 300,000 people. But just 10 years ago, we have something like 35,000 people, 10%. So this represents a huge amount of space, public space, and opportunities to the youngest in the city. So we are doing this, and we are advancing fast. So the first decision was to put out the people selling things on the streets and to use to modernize the infrastructure in the zone. So you have a lot of people right now in the downtown area, and we have museums that we put in the Zócalo, which is the main square in the city. The last one, a scientific museum, has had something like 30 million visitors in a period of 5 months. So we are working on those kind of things in order to recover areas of the city and to avoid a further expansion in the next years to a long distances and with a very high and destructive impact in the quality of life of the people for the next generation. So I can propose this also because Mexico City as Mexico City is not growing anymore in population terms. So I can propose this because it makes sense. It's better to have the people in the best parts of the city than 2 or 3 hours in the neighborhood or in another state.